Most people think vending machines are those giant clunky metal things from 1985 that eat up your dollar bills and drop a stale bag of chips. But the vending industry has completely changed. We're talking AI machines with frozen pizzas, laundry detergent, even condoms. Today, I'm breaking down every type of vending machine you can own in 2025, from traditional units all the way to $100,000 unattended convenience stores. More importantly, I'll tell you exactly the type of locations each one of these machines will crush it in. Because putting the wrong machine in the right location is just as bad as putting the right machine in the wrong location. Let's dive in. When it comes to traditional vending machines, here's what we're dealing with. You are stuck with what fits in the motor. Think about it. You're not gonna be able to put a frozen pizza in a traditional vending machine because there's no way the frozen pizza is gonna fit inside the motor. You're literally stuck if it is the size of a Snickers or a Reese's that's gonna fit inside that motor. There's no way Tide Pods are gonna fit in that motor. And as a result, you're so limited by the number of SKUs you can put in that machine. To take it a step further, your old school traditional machines require each person that comes to buy to do a transaction with the credit card and then enter in the code C4 and then redo the card again to get another snack B19 and watch the motor spiral down the machine and shoot out that bag of chips versus a smart machine where you put the card on the door, unlock it, and grab all those items at once. So what happens with so much friction on these traditional machines is people don't redo the card and enter in a new code for every item. They get the first item and they walk away from the machine. As a result, with traditional vending machines, you're gonna see a 3x decrease in sales versus an AI smart machine. Now, the big thing with these traditional vending machines is they're the only machines on the market that will do an outdoor machine. You're not gonna be able to put an AI smart machine out by the clubhouse pool or outside of a hospital. You're gonna have to use a traditional machine that has plexiglass and the ability to handle humidity, winter, all different types of scenarios from the weather that an AI smart machine and the cameras in that smart machine wouldn't be able to handle. So traditional machines still have a place for things like outdoor, but also places where you could be concerned by theft. If you need a place that you're worried they're gonna screw with the machine or they're gonna try to vandalize it, you can get these big, bulky metal boxes of traditional vending machines and still put those in those locations if you are concerned about theft. But in reality, an AI smart machine is gonna cover 95% of your theft anyway. Now, I want to talk about smart coolers. Here's how these things actually work. The great thing with this smart machine is the glass doors. As you can see behind me, you literally can see everything that is in that machine. There's no mystery shopping behind what's behind a traditional machine. Everything you see is with those glass doors. The second thing is, you probably think it's a free-for-all when you look at that thing and how to protect it from theft. But the reality is, those doors behind me are locked. And because these smart coolers have locked doors, they won't open until you put your debit card or your credit card on the machine and it authorizes payment to unlock the doors. So if you only have $5 or $10 on your card, it's not going to authorize the doors to unlock, because if you grab 100 things out of that machine, your transaction might be upwards of $300 just from that one trip to the machine. The best part about these smart coolers is the flexibility of products. Look at it. It's literally shelf space. So if you want to put anything in that machine, as long as it fits on the shelf, you can put it in there. Think about it. If you're at a CrossFit gym and you want to stock this thing with a bunch of jugs of protein or pre-workout powders, you can, because you don't have to worry about it fitting in a motor like an old school machine that I just talked about. Literally, you put them on the shelf in here, and now you're charging that jug of protein $40 instead of the $2 Snickers in the old school machine. The reason I'm obsessed with these smart coolers is because you're going to be able to do 2 to 3x the revenue. I've seen it. We had an old school machine at an apartment complex right next to the mailroom that was capped out at $1,200 a month. We swapped that out with one of these smart machines behind me, and now that thing does over $2,500 a month. It's literally the same exact location, just going from a traditional machine to a smart machine. Now we can sell $15 Tide Pods in that smart machine we were never able to sell with that old school machine. That's 2 to 3x revenue from selling a $5 monster. The other thing with smart machines is actually the security advantages. So the machine behind me has 4 cameras inside the machine, and then it also has a camera outside the machine tracking the transaction. So if you're worried about these machines being vandalized, not only is there built-in cameras in the machine, but also those doors are going to be locked and not authorized until you have funds in your account to open the machine. So if you try to go into that machine and unlock the door, whatever things you grab out of that machine, your card that was used to unlock the door is going to be charged for those items. So it's no scanning the barcodes. There's none of this like go by the self-checkout at a grocery store. Once you pull those things out of the machine, the card on the door to unlock it is getting charged for those items. Some of the perfect locations for the smart machines right behind me are going to be places where they don't need to stick out very far in hallways. Think about it, whether it's an apartment complex as you're going up to the elevator to go up to the 3rd floor, or even a hospital where you're on the 2nd floor and you want to go up to the 10th floor. These things only stick out 2 feet, and so you're able to put these along the wall and they look like a bookshelf. And that's the best part about these, is they don't stick out very far. Now don't get me wrong, they have limited inventory, so if you're just trying to fill it all up with Pepsi cans, this isn't the machine for you. But if you're worried about aesthetics and want it to be almost wall art in the hallway, this is going to be the perfect type of machine for those type of locations. The next one I'm going to talk about is going to be open micro markets. The reason I love open micro markets is you even have more transaction value and higher revenue than a closed market like the smart coolers we just went through. Okay. So when you think of open markets, think about that grab and go you go to at the hotel. So nowadays, a lot of these hotels have grab and goes where you can grab different items and there's a kiosk there. You're going to be able to do room charge or check out with a credit card right there inside the grab and go. There's no more waiting in line at the front desk where someone's checking in to tell them to put this Dr. Pepper on a room charge. Okay, so the great thing with micro markets is they're open markets, so they're open shelved and people tend to grab a lot more items. Now the downside of these open markets is they're open. And so the other thing that you want to do with an open micro market is you always want to install cameras, and then to take it a step further, put some signage on these so that people know they're on camera. Like even a simple sign that says smile, you're on camera. So the great thing with an open market is people will literally just go and grab multiple different things like you're at the grab and go of a hotel, and then you'll also be able to just go to that literally self-checkout just like you're at the grocery store. So we have multiple locations where we have open markets. We do a lot of businesses with open markets because the awesome thing, if you're worried about theft with an open market, is businesses will let you put signs 9 times out of 10 on the market that says HR will penalize you, or even you have grounds to termination if you get caught stealing or theft. And so a lot of businesses where you put open markets, if you have a camera and then you put a sign that's like, if you're caught stealing, you're going to be reported to HR. These people aren't going to steal a freaking meal just to lose their job. Okay. And so that's where we have a manufacturing plant where with the open market, we'll have a freezer that's going to have breakfast items like breakfast bowls and things. But to take it a step further, those night shifts, we'll even have ice cream in there. So if they need a dessert during their break at night, we'll have ice cream on the bottom shelves. So these open markets give you that flexibility to have different type of items for different types of workers. So with our manufacturing plant, they have people showing up at 7 a.m., they have people showing up at 3 p.m., and then they have people showing up at 7 p.m. to work the night shift. And so not only do you need breakfast and lunch items, you also need dinner and dessert items. In the open markets, whether it's pastries next to your candy, next to your bag of chips, or even in your freezer where you got those breakfast bowls next to the ice cream, next to the frozen pizzas, it's so easy to cater to everybody with these open markets and to protect ourselves, because the downside with an open market is going to be theft. And so with that, you can protect yourself by putting those cameras in and then also putting that signage up that says smile, you're on camera, or smile, if caught stealing, you will be reported to HR and grounds to termination. I love these open markets in corporate office buildings, especially right now because there's a huge push of getting employees back in the office. And the great thing is with corporate offices, hospitals, urgent cares, is they want to reward people that are back in the office. With these open markets, you're able to literally do employee rewards programs. So maybe that person that buys meals every Friday afternoon is going to get an extra day off of PTO because we're tracking on the back end that they're coming to the open market in the office every Friday for HR. And so there's a huge incentive plan here with these as people try to get employees back into the office. One of the things we're bullish about is frozen food machines. The thing with frozen food machines is it gives you so much flexibility. You don't have to worry about shelf life as much. You don't have to worry about, oh, I can only fit ice cream or I can only fit breakfast items. It gives you the full flexibility of anything you want to do. So with our frozen food machines, we have full flexibility. We tend to like to break it up into different components. So if you have a frozen food machine in a manufacturing plant that has a lot of different ethnicities, you might have frozen pizzas, you might have burritos, you might have frozen meals catering to the type of employee that these frozen food machines are at. You might even have Uncrustables or PB&Js, anything that's going to cater to that snack crowd. And the other side of it is, then you're going to have all the desserts. You're going to have ice cream cones. You're going to have little dishes of ice cream. You can literally have whatever type of dessert you want that's frozen is going to cater to them. And that's why with frozen food machines, you are so advantageous to having this because of the shelf life and the flexibility of additional revenue. Think about it. You put a smart cooler in a location, why not just add a frozen food machine next to it? And even if they don't use it, that's a chance of you making an extra $800 to even $1,500 a month on items that you're going by the regular machine anyway to stock every week. And so this to me is where frozen food machines, it's a no-brainer because the margin is so much higher because one, you don't have to worry about shrinkage because their frozen food shelf life is so high. And then two, you don't have to worry about extra trips because if the frozen food runs out, you're just going to restock it the next time you come back to the refrigerated machine anyway. So with frozen food machines, I'm super bullish on it these days because one, it's a differentiator for you landing the location, but two, that additional revenue for such limited operational cost makes it completely worth it. And so for us, we do a lot of frozen food machines across all our different types of demographics, whether it's an urgent care, whether it's an apartment, an employee break room, all these places either want sweets like ice cream or they have a microwave in the break room. And so all the frozen meals are going to cater to them wanting that convenience. The last one I want to talk about is specialty machines. So when you think of specialty machines, some of the ones that always come to mind for me are going to be first your ice vending machine. The thing with ice vending machines is they are expensive to start, upwards of 40 to 50K to get started, but those things run on autopilot. The other thing with ice vending machines is they're going to be very geographically dependent. It's all about where you live and the type of location. Sure, if I lived in Oregon, I probably don't need an ice vending machine because it's only above 90, maybe 2 weeks out of the year. But if I lived in Florida and I had a condo where a bunch of people come into it all the time and has a ton of tourists and guests, that ice vending machine probably is used multiple times a day. The other part about it is the margins on water to make ice are absurd. And so if you have the type of location and you live in a warmer geography, you should definitely scope out ice vending machines. The second type of specialty machine that is also really interesting to me is the PPE and safety glove type machines. These really started to boom during COVID, and now that people are more and more aware of safety, these machines crush it. Think about that manufacturing plant I was talking about earlier with the frozen food. That manufacturing plant requires everyone to wear safety glasses. Well, humans are humans. They're gonna forget their safety glasses. So just like they're gonna forget their bottle of water from home, they're gonna go buy a bottle of water. Same thing with these glasses, with these gloves, all these PPE items you can put in these specialty machines are going to be really niche, but are awesome for the right location. The third thing I'd love to talk about is coffee machines. Let's face it, everyone loves a good coffee. If you've ever been to SFO or some of these big airports, you've probably seen the robotic barista machines. These are what I'm talking about. With these break rooms and the incentives to get people back in the office, having a coffee machine or a barista robot to make lattes and not just the traditional medium roast or dark roast or light roast machines, these things crush it because coffee has such high margins. And so if you can find the type of location that will allow you to put in a coffee machine, it's going to crush it. Better yet, a lot of companies have coffee budgets. So they will actually subsidize the cost of the coffee for their employees. And so as a result, if you're giving free coffee out of this specialty coffee machine to the employees, then you can charge the employer for that coffee. Well, if I'm an employee, I want a free latte. And guess what? I'm getting paid if I'm the vending provider of this specialty machine because the business is going to have to pay me for that employee's free latte. And this is where the revenue really starts to get fun because now you're getting that B2B revenue and not just the transaction at the robotic coffee machine. Knowing these machine types exist is only 10% of the equation. The other 90% is to know which machine to put where, how to negotiate the deal, and having the systems to scale it. Inside Vendingpreneurs, we don't just help you pick the machine. We literally analyze your specific locations and tell you exactly which setup will maximize revenue. If you're ready to build a profitable vending business this year, click the link in the description to book a call with our team. Thanks for watching. This is Mr. Passive signing off.